You might not see it now, but you're closer to your blessing than ever before. The pain, the pressure, the waiting, none of it is by chance. It's a sign that you're on the brink of something divine. You may have cried, questioned, or thought about giving up, but hear this: you're too close to the breakthrough to turn back. God's hand is still upon your life, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. The silence of God isn't His absence, it's His preparation. You've been walking through storms not because He abandoned you, but because He's about to show you that He has never left your side. You're nearer to victory than your adversary wants you to think. Every life reaches a point where faith must be proven, when everything inside you is tested to see if you truly believe in God's promises. Faith isn't about emotions, it's about perseverance, and although you may not see the end of the road, it's still ahead. Just because the path is dark doesn't mean your destination has disappeared. Sometimes God dims the light so you can learn to see with your heart. You're not moving backward, you're being positioned. Every delay, tear, and closed door has a divine purpose. Some of you may feel like giving up, but God is whispering, hold on, you're almost there. The moment you feel like letting go is often when heaven is preparing to release the blessing you've been waiting for. The closer you are to your miracle, the louder the storm becomes, the greater the promise, the harder the test. But this isn't punishment, it's preparation. God is strengthening your faith so it can bear the weight of what's ahead, removing the weak spots to make you unshakable. You're being built, not broken. There's a reason you've made it through what others couldn't and kept moving when everything told you to stop. God didn't bring you this far to leave you now. If He began something in your life, He plans to finish it. The waiting season is sacred ground, not wasted time. God is refining you in private before He blesses you in public. The delay isn't a denial, it's a declaration that your blessing is on its way. When everything around you seems still, God is speaking the loudest through His actions, rearranging circumstances, softening hearts, and preparing the stage for something beyond what you can imagine. Sometimes God hides your blessing behind struggles, not to discourage you, but to strengthen you. Every challenge you face is a doorway disguised as a difficulty. Every trial is a test to see how much you truly trust that God is in control. Faith isn't proven when things go right. It's proven when everything feels wrong and you still choose to trust. The enemy wants you to believe you've missed your opportunity. He wants you to think that it's all over. But the truth is, you're right on the edge of a fresh start. What seems like the end is often the start of the most significant chapter of your life. God never guaranteed the road would be easy, but He promised He would be there with you. And if God is walking with you, no mountain will stand in your way for long. The same God who carried you through your last challenge will carry you through this one. He hasn't changed His mind about your future. You may have stumbled, but God's plan for your life hasn't shifted one bit. The blessing coming your way has your name on it. It won't go to anyone else. It won't pass you by. It's been written into the story of your life from the start. The closer you get to your blessing, the more the enemy will resist. Don't be shocked by the pressure. It's proof that you're near. The enemy only targets what threatens him. The struggles you face aren't because you're weak, it's because you're on the brink of victory. God is preparing your hands for battle and your heart for triumph. He's not punishing you, He's equipping you. The pain you feel is proof that something powerful is emerging in your life. When you feel surrounded, remember that God surrounds what surrounds you. When you feel weak, remember that His strength is perfected in your weakness. You don't have to understand everything happening right now. You only need to trust that God is still in charge. Blessings are waiting on the other side of your persistence. Some miracles are only unlocked for those who refuse to give up. You might feel exhausted, but don't stop praying. You may feel ignored, but don't stop believing. The faith you've planted is growing beneath the surface, even if you can't see it yet. The ground may seem dry, but God is watering it in secret. When the right time comes, it will suddenly bloom. God specializes in sudden breakthroughs. One touch of His favor can reverse years of pain. One change in His timing can alter everything in an instant. There is a divine pattern to breakthrough. It always comes after you've been tested to your limit. God increases the pressure so your faith can expand. You've asked for strength, and God is giving you opportunities to build it. You've asked for peace, and He's teaching you to trust Him in the chaos. You've asked for blessings, and He's shaping your character to handle them. Nothing in your life is random. Every moment has purpose when God is involved. Look back for a moment at all the times you thought it was over, yet somehow you made it through. You thought you'd never recover from that heartbreak, but here you are. You thought that loss would break you, but it didn't. You thought the delay meant rejection, but it was protection. God has been faithful every step of the way. Even when you couldn't trace His hand, His heart was guiding you. The same God who carried you before will not abandon you now. He didn't invest all this time in your growth just to let your journey end in failure. You are standing on the verge of your blessing, and everything around you is trying to convince you otherwise. The noise of doubt, the voices of fear, the weight of exhaustion, they all come to test your perseverance. But this is your moment to rise in faith and declare, I will not quit. God brought me here for a purpose. You're not being buried, you're being planted, and when you're planted, you grow. You may not see the sunlight yet, but your roots are growing deeper. You're being grounded in strength. You're being prepared to carry the blessing that's coming your way. When God blesses you, He doesn't give you fragments. He gives you abundance. He doesn't restore you to what you were. He restores you to better than before. That's why the journey feels so difficult right now, because the blessing is going to be greater than you ever imagined. You're not waiting for something small. You're waiting for something that will make sense of everything you've been through. God is aligning events, people, and opportunities in ways you can't yet perceive. He's not late, He's precise. His timing is perfect, even when it feels painful. The problem is, many give up just before the blessing arrives. They stop praying just before the answer comes. They stop believing just before the door opens. But you can't afford to give up now. You've come too far to turn back. You've endured too much to quit. God has seen every tear, heard every prayer, and counted every moment of waiting. The blessing that's about to come isn't just a reward, it's a testimony. It will prove that God was working even when you didn't understand. God specializes in sudden breakthroughs. One touch of His favor can reverse years of pain. One change in His timing can alter everything in an instant. There is a divine pattern to breakthrough. It always comes after you've been tested to your limit. God increases the pressure so your faith can expand. You've asked for strength, and God is giving you opportunities to build it. You've asked for peace, and He's teaching you to trust Him in the chaos. No person, no mistake, no delay can cancel what God has prepared for you. When you're too close to your blessing, life often feels like it's falling apart. Relationships shift, doors close, plans collapse, but that's not chaos, it's construction. God is rebuilding your life on stronger foundation. He's clearing away what doesn't belong so your blessing won't be tainted by the past. The shaking is not meant to destroy you. It's to ensure that when He blesses you, you'll be ready to keep it. The storm you're in isn't evidence that God is gone. It's proof that He's near. Only those close to the finish line experience the greatest resistance. This is the moment to fight for your faith, not with your strength, but with your trust in God. When you can't change the situation, change your focus. Stop looking at what's against you and start remembering who is for you. God didn't promise a life without challenges, but He promised you'd never face them alone. He's walking beside you through every valley, guiding you through every storm, and leading you toward a victory that will silence your enemies. The reason the enemy attacks so fiercely before the blessing is because he knows what's coming. He understands that once God opens that door, once the breakthrough occurs, your faith will increase, your influence will expand, and your testimony will inspire others. So he tries to break you before you cross the finish line. But what the enemy intended for evil, God will use for good. The very thing designed to destroy you will become the testimony of God's faithfulness. The fire you walk through will not consume you. It will purify you. Hold your peace and trust that God is in control. You don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to explain yourself to everyone. God will defend you. He will vindicate you. He will bless you in front of those who doubted you. When God lifts you, no one can bring you down. When He says it's your time, nothing and no one can stop it. The blessing may have taken time, but it will be worth every second of the wait. Faith is not about seeing the blessing. It's about walking toward it even when you can't see a thing. It's trusting that God is who He says He is and that His plan is still unfolding. You may not understand the how, but you can trust the who. God has never failed, and He won't start now. Keep moving forward even if it's slow. Keep believing even if your faith feels small. The finish line is closer than you think. Don't let your emotions talk you out of your destiny. Feelings are temporary, but faith is eternal. You might be tired, but you're not defeated. You may be weary, but you're still chosen. The same God who spoke the universe into existence is watching over you right now. He knows what you need, and He's already made a way. You just need to stay the course. One day you'll look back and realize that what you called a delay was divine design. You'll see how every disappointment led you toward your destiny. You'll understand that the tears you shed were watering the seeds of your future. You'll see that the pain wasn't pointless, it was preparation. And when that day comes, you'll thank God that you didn't give up. So hold on. You're too close to your blessing to quit now. The night may feel long, but morning is coming. The mountain may seem high, but your strength comes from above. The road may be rough, but God's hand is steady. Keep your eyes on Him. Keep your faith alive. God's got you. And when He moves, and He will move, it will be greater, faster, and more powerful than anything you've imagined. When God is about to bless you, everything in your life begins to shift. The familiar becomes uncomfortable. The stable starts to shake. The people who once understood you begin to drift away. Don't panic when this happens. It's not loss, it's alignment. God is removing distractions, closing doors, and silencing voices that can't go where you're headed. The next chapter of your life requires focus, faith, and peace. Sometimes God's silence is His way of clearing your path. You think you're being left behind, but in truth, you're being elevated. The path narrows before it leads to greatness. The air gets thinner before the summit. The storm gets louder before the calm. All of it means you're getting closer. God is not ignoring your prayers. He's refining His plan. You've been waiting, wondering, asking when it will happen, but God doesn't rush destiny. Every detail is being orchestrated with divine precision. You can't see it, but things are shifting behind the scenes. What seems like delay is often God shielding you from something that could have ruined the blessing He's preparing to give. When the time is right, no force on earth will prevent what He has already decided. The timing of God is never wrong. It's intentional, it's wise, and it's always for your benefit. There are times when faith isn't about shouting or celebrating. It's about standing firm. It's about trusting that God's silence doesn't mean He stopped caring. Sometimes He hides His hand so you can learn to recognize His heart. He lets the answer take time so your faith can grow. You're not being punished. You're being purified. You're not being overlooked. You're being strengthened. The pain is producing something powerful inside you: strength, endurance, wisdom, and unshakable faith. What you learn in the waiting will equip you to bear the weight of what's coming. When you feel the burden of exhaustion pressing on your soul, remind yourself that even when your strength is gone, God's strength begins. You don't have to carry everything by yourself. You don't have to understand how He'll do it. Just trust that He will. The weight you feel is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you're being entrusted. God doesn't place heavy burdens on fragile foundations. If He's allowing you to go through it, it's because He knows you can handle it with His help. The struggle isn't evidence of His absence. It's proof of His trust in you. The truth is, God will often let things get harder before they get better, not to discourage you, but to deepen your trust. He'll allow the walls to close in so that when He opens the way, you'll know for certain it was Him who made it happen. The blessing will be so clear, so undeniable, that you'll never doubt His power again. That's why you mustn't give up now. Don't measure God's faithfulness by how easy the journey is. Measure it by the fact that you're still standing, you're still breathing, you're still moving forward. Even with the weight of the world on your shoulders, that's already victory. Sometimes God delays the answer because He's working on the people connected to your blessing. You might be ready, but someone else in the chain still needs to be positioned. God doesn't bless in isolation. He blesses in alignment. Every part of your story must connect perfectly to His greater plan. And when all the pieces come together, suddenly everything will make sense. The closed doors, the heartbreaks, the waiting, they'll all fit together like pieces of a divine puzzle. There's power in not giving up. Every time you choose to keep believing when you have no visible reason to, something in the spiritual realm shifts. Your persistence becomes a declaration that says, God, I still trust you. And when you say that, you open the door for heaven to move. God responds to faith that refuses to give up. He answers hearts that say, even if I don't see it yet, I know it's coming. That kind of faith moves mountains, breaks chains, and opens doors that no one else can open. Right now, you may be walking through the fire of hardship. The pressure feels overwhelming. The doubts are loud, but remember this: fire refines gold and pressure forms diamonds. The heat you're feeling is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to shape you. God is burning away fear, pride, doubt, and weakness so your faith can shine brightly. When you come through this, you'll be stronger, wiser, and more radiant than before. What once broke you will no longer have power over you. You are too close to your blessing to be swayed by temporary emotions. Feelings fluctuate, but truth stands firm. And the truth is, God is faithful. He has never failed His word. He has never abandoned anyone who trusted Him. So even when you feel forgotten, remind yourself feelings are deceiving, but God never is. Your blessing is not being withheld, it's being perfected. What's taking time is not the miracle itself, but your preparation to receive it. God doesn't give blessings that will crush you. He gives blessings you're strong enough to carry. When doubt creeps in, remember what God has already done. Look back at the doors He opened, the paths He made, the times He healed what you thought would stay broken forever. If He did it before, He can do it again. The same God who carried you through your last season will guide you through this one. Your past victories are proof that your future blessings are real. You're not walking in circles. You're climbing a mountain, and each step is higher than the last. Some of you are asking, why does it have to hurt so much? Because transformation always requires a cost. Growth demands discomfort. You can't step into the next season carrying the weight of the last one. God has to remove what can't come with you. That's why some relationships end, why some doors close, why certain opportunities fade. It's not rejection, it's redirection. God is not taking something from you. He's making space for something better. And when it comes, you'll understand why everything had to happen the way it did. Don't confuse being hidden with being forgotten. God hides you to protect you, to strengthen you, and to prepare you. Some blessings are too heavy to carry until you've been through the process. The world may not see what's happening in you right now, but God sees it. He sees your faithfulness when no one is watching. He sees your quiet tears and your silent prayers. And He promises that those who sow in tears will reap with joy. The hidden season will soon give birth to a harvest so great that it will silence every doubt. There's something sacred about the moments when you have nothing left but faith, when you've exhausted all options, when you've done all you can and simply whisper, God, I trust you. That whisper holds power. It reaches heaven. It moves mountains that were meant to crush you. Sometimes the most powerful prayer is the simplest one. You don't need perfect words, you just need a genuine heart. God doesn't listen to eloquent speech. He listens to truth. And truth spoken from a humble heart carries more power than 1,000 memorized speeches. You may feel like you're walking alone, but you are surrounded by divine strength. God has placed angels around you even when you can't see them. He's fighting battles you don't even know exist. He's protecting you from dangers you didn't even know were coming. There are blessings on their way to you right now that your eyes haven't seen yet, but your faith can sense. Every unseen movement of God is leading to a visible manifestation. Don't let impatience steal what's almost ready to unfold. There's a sacred strength and endurance. The greatest miracles often come after the longest seasons of waiting. God often lets things reach their darkest point before He brings the light. That way, no one can take His glory when the light comes. So if it's darkest now, take heart. It means the dawn is near. The deeper the valley, the higher the mountain on the other side. Your story will not end in defeat. You're not going through this storm to drown. You're going through it to discover how powerful God truly is. There's peace that comes when you stop fighting against what God is allowing. When you surrender your timeline, your expectations, your fears, and your need to control, something beautiful happens. You find rest. Rest is not the absence of storms. It's the confidence that the one guiding the storm knows where it's leading. You can sleep in peace when you know God's hand is steering the ship. You don't need to see every wave. You just need to trust the captain. When others around you seem to be moving faster, don't compare your process. Some blessings require deeper roots before they can bear fruit. You're not behind, you're being built. While others are sprinting, you're being strengthened. And when your time comes, your growth will be unstoppable because it will have been rooted in patience, faith, and obedience. The tree that grows slowly lasts longer than the one that grows quickly. Trust the pace God has set for your journey. There will come a day when everything you prayed for suddenly begins to unfold. The doors will open, the right people will appear, and the opportunities will align perfectly. It will feel sudden, but it won't be. It will be the result of every tear, every prayer, and every moment you chose to believe when it made no sense. That's how God works. He turns long seasons of waiting into sudden moments of victory. What took years to build can be transformed in an instant when He moves. So don't stop now. You are standing on the edge of a miracle. The waiting room is not your final destination. The pain you feel today will soon become the strength you speak from tomorrow. God has not forgotten a single promise. Every word He has spoken over your life is still alive. Even when you doubt it, His word stands firm. Even when you stumble, His mercy lifts you. Even when you fall short, His plan moves forward. And when your blessing eventually arrives, it will be extraordinary. It will overflow. It will heal wounds you thought could never be healed. It will restore years you thought were lost. It will bring joy that will quiet your pain. You'll look back and say, now I understand. Now I see what God was doing. This blessing won't just change your life. It will reveal God's wisdom, patience, and love in a way you've never experienced before. So hold your head up high. Walk with quiet assurance. Keep believing. Keep trusting. Keep standing. You are not defeated. You are being shaped. You are not forgotten. You are being favored, and you are not far off. You are too close to your blessing to give up now. God has you. And when the time is right, no power in heaven or on earth can stop what He is about to do in your life. There will come a time when everything around you seems to go against what God promised. The road will seem long, the doors will remain shut, and your strength will start to wane. That's when faith is truly tested, not when life is easy, but when it feels unbearable. Faith doesn't shine when things are smooth. It shines when things are falling apart. It's in these moments that you must dig deep and remind yourself of who holds your life. God hasn't forgotten you. What you see as a setback, He sees as a strategy. What you think is a delay, He calls a design. He's not punishing you. He's positioning you. Every unanswered prayer is an invitation to trust Him more, to believe even when it hurts, to stand firm even when you're trembling. Sometimes God allows your plans to fall apart so His plan can finally take shape. He will remove those you've relied on so you can learn to rely only on Him. He'll close doors you were desperate to go through because what's behind them could have stolen your peace. You may not understand it now, but you'll see later that every no was protecting you. Every disappointment was redirection. Every detour was divine. God doesn't waste pain. He transforms it into wisdom, strength, and testimony. He doesn't destroy what you love. He refines it so it can bless you, not burden you. If you've been waiting a long time, don't mistake God's patience for forgetfulness. He hasn't overlooked you. He hasn't set your prayer aside. He's been working quietly in the background, aligning everything so when your blessing arrives, it won't falter under pressure. God doesn't create fragile blessings. He creates lasting ones. And sometimes that means He must first rebuild you. The reason you've been under pressure is that He's been strengthening your foundation. The blessing coming your way will require deeper faith, stronger endurance, and unshakable peace. God doesn't give fragile people heavy blessings. He prepares them to carry what others can't. There's a reason the battle has been so intense recently. The enemy attacks hardest when you're on the verge of breakthrough. He knows that one more step of faith, one more moment of trust, one more prayer could open the floodgates of blessings. So he whispers lies to discourage you. He tells you that nothing is changing, that it's too late, that you've prayed in vain, but the enemy is a liar. His greatest fear is that you will keep believing, because when you refuse to quit, when you hold on, even with trembling hands, you declare that your faith is stronger than your fear, and that's when God acts. When life feels unbearable, it's often the moment just before things change. Think of the seed buried deep in the earth. It lies in darkness, surrounded by pressure, unable to see the light. But underneath, something powerful is happening. Roots are growing, progress is starting, and when the time comes, the seed pushes through. That's what God is doing in your life. You may be underground now, but you are not forgotten. You are hidden, but not lost. The breaking you feel is not the end, it's the beginning of your breakthrough. Soon, what has been growing quietly will burst out for everyone to witness. God never wastes a season of waiting. The moments when nothing seems to happen are often the most sacred. That's when He teaches you to hear His voice in the silence. That's when He removes your need for control. That's when He fills your heart with peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances. The blessing is not just the miracle ahead, it's the transformation taking place within you right now. You are not the same person you were at the start of this journey. You've become wiser, you've developed patience, you've uncovered strength you didn't realize you had. All of this is part of the blessing. You see, God's view of blessing is much deeper than ours. We often think blessings are material things, wealth, success, and opportunities. But God's greatest blessings are the peace that transcends understanding, the courage to keep moving forward, the strength to forgive, the wisdom to discern, and the faith to stand when everything is shaking. These are the blessings that sustain you when life feels cold. These are the blessings no one can take away. And once your heart is filled with these treasures, God begins to pour out the visible ones too, because He knows you are ready to hold them without losing yourself. There are seasons when God hides you not because you failed, but because He's protecting what He's cultivating. The world may not see your growth, but heaven does. While others seem to be moving ahead, you are being rooted deeper. And when God finally reveals what He has been nurturing, it will grow faster, stronger, and broader than anything rushed by human hands. That's why you can't compare your journey to anyone else's. Their path is not your path. Their pace is not your pace. Your story is written by God's hand, and He writes it in perfect timing. There is a strength that comes from surrender. When you stop fighting against what you can't change and begin trusting that God has already made a way through it, peace begins to rise within your soul. You stop worrying about what's next and start focusing on who's in control. And in that surrender, you find peace. Not because the situation is easy, but because your trust is whole. That's where miracles are born. Not in panic, but in peace. You may not see it yet, but God is working even through the people who hurt you. Sometimes the betrayal was necessary to move you out of your comfort zone. Sometimes rejection was needed to push you toward your purpose. If they hadn't walked away, you wouldn't have moved forward. God allows certain things to break your heart so He can rebuild it with divine strength. He removes temporary support so you'll realize He's your everlasting foundation. Every person, every situation, every challenge was part of the shaping process. You are being prepared for something greater than you imagine. And when God finally reveals the blessing, it won't just restore what you lost, it will multiply it. You won't merely recover, you'll rise. You won't just survive, you'll thrive. You won't just heal, you'll be renewed. Because God doesn't return things to their old state, He improves them. That's why the weight has felt so heavy. He's not bringing you back to where you were. He's preparing to launch you into something new, something that reflects His power and faithfulness so clearly that everyone will see it was God alone who did it. There's a quiet confidence that comes when you've seen God work too many times to doubt Him again. When you've seen doors open that should have remained closed. When you've seen provision appear out of nowhere. When you've seen strength rise, when you had nothing left, you start to realize that no matter what happens, God will make a way. You stop fearing the unknown because you've met the one who controls it. That's faith at its purest, not knowing how, but knowing who. So don't let frustration steal your focus. Don't let fear silence your prayers. Don't let doubt take root in your heart. You may be tired, but this is not the time to give up. This is the time to press in, to believe harder, to pray bolder. God has heard every word you've whispered in the dark. He has seen every moment when you wanted to quit but didn't. And He has recorded every tear as proof of your faith. Not one has been wasted. Every moment of pain has purpose. Soon, Everything you've been praying for will align with God's perfect timing. What once seemed impossible will suddenly unfold with ease. Doors that resisted will swing wide. Hearts that were closed will soften. Opportunities that appeared unreachable will fall into place, and you'll realize it wasn't luck. It wasn't a coincidence. It was divine orchestration. God was weaving a masterpiece the entire time. You just couldn't see the pattern while He was stitching it together. Your life is not behind schedule. You're not forgotten. You are right where you're meant to be, on the edge of your blessing. The same God who created the stars, who commands the seasons and holds the universe together, is holding your life in perfect order. His plan doesn't conform to human timelines. His purpose isn't rushed by impatience. Everything He promised you is already written into your destiny. And when the appointed time comes, nothing will prevent it from coming to pass. So stand firm. Even if your knees shake, stand. Even if your heart aches, stand. Even if the night feels endless, keep your eyes on God, because when He moves suddenly, and that sudden moment could be closer than you think. You are too close to your blessing to give up now. You've come through too much, endured too long, fought too hard to stop short of the promise. God's got you. And what He's about to release will not only bless you, it will change the course of your life forever. When life feels like a battle that never ends, when your strength seems drained and your hope slips through your fingers, that is not the time to give up. That is the time to press deeper into faith. It's the time to stand still and whisper, God, I trust you. Because when you reach the breaking point, that's often when the breakthrough is closest. When you feel like you can't take another step, that's when God steps in to carry you. He has not forgotten you. He has not ignored you. Every tear you've cried, every prayer whispered in the dark, every silent cry of your heart has reached Him. You are too close to your blessing to give up now. There are moments when God allows the pressure to rise just before the promise is fulfilled. He lets the night grow darker before the morning comes. It's not because He wants you to suffer. It's because He's strengthening you to bear what He's about to give you. The delay is not rejection. The waiting is not wasted. God is refining something within you that could not be developed any other way. He's preparing your heart, refining your spirit, shaping your endurance, and deepening your trust. Every challenge you face is a lesson in disguise. And every setback is a setup for your greatest season yet. You may not see it now, but soon you'll look back and realize that God was working even when you thought He was silent. So stand firm, keep your faith strong. Do not let the winds of doubt or the noise of fear shake your confidence in God's plan. What you're carrying is precious. What you're praying for is worth the wait. Don't let temporary pain make you give up on permanent promises. Don't let impatience cause you to turn away from something God has already marked as yours. You are standing on sacred ground, the place between what was and what's about to be. If you could see how close you are, if you could see what's waiting just beyond the next step of obedience, you'd never consider quitting again. God's timing is never late. It may not match your schedule, but it always aligns with His purpose. Sometimes He slows you down because what He's preparing for you isn't ready yet. Other times He slows you down because you're not ready for what He's preparing. Either way, His timing is protection. His timing is wisdom. His timing is love. And when the appointed time comes, nothing and no one will be able to stop what God has planned for your life. So right now, even if everything feels uncertain, choose to believe that God is still in control. When doors close, remember that He can open new ones. When people leave, remember that He can send those who are meant to stay. When plans fall apart, remember that His plan remains. You've come too far to turn back now. You've cried too long to let your faith collapse now. The same God who brought you through storms before will carry you through this one too. You didn't make it this far just to stop now. You survived because there's something ahead that's worth every moment of struggle. Lift your head, lift your heart. You may feel weary, but you are not defeated. You may be tired, but you are still chosen. You may feel uncertain, but you are still covered. God is not done with your story. And the next chapter will give meaning to every tear, every delay, and every disappointment. You don't need to see how. You only need to know who. God is your provider, your protector, your sustainer, and your deliverer. He is the one who turns closed doors into new paths, pain into power, and waiting into wisdom. Let this be your declaration today. I will not give up because God's promise is bigger than my pressure. Let that truth sink deep into your soul. Hold it close when the nights are long and the answers seem distant. You are not forgotten. You are being refined. You are being refined. You are not forsaken. You are being prepared. Every test has a purpose. Every delay has meaning. And every battle you face is shaping you into the person God intended you to be. Now is not the time to give up. Now is the time to rise. Now is the time to take that last step of faith, to move forward with renewed courage, to silence the voice of fear and listen only to God's whisper. Because just ahead of your endurance is the blessing you've been praying for. Just beyond your faithfulness is the reward you've been waiting for. You are closer than you think. So walk with your head held high and your heart steady. Refuse to let doubt win. Refuse to let fear define your story. Choose faith. Choose perseverance. Choose to trust God when you don't understand the way. The very place you thought about quitting is the same place God intends to bless. Keep moving, keep believing, keep holding on. Because when God steps in, everything shifts in an instant. And when that moment comes, and it will come, you will look back and realize that every sleepless night, every lonely hour, every unanswered prayer was not the end of your story, but the preparation for a greater glory. You will see how God carried you through what was meant to break you. How He turned your tears into strength and your pain into testimony. So take a deep breath, stand tall, and say these words with conviction. God, I will not give up. I know you've got me. I know you're working. I know you're bringing me closer to my blessing. Let that be the rhythm of your heart. Let that be your unwavering faith, because when you hold on to God, you never lose. You only grow stronger, wiser, and closer to the promise He has already set for you. You are too close now. Don't give up. God's got you.